Hello, everyone. My name is Waleed, and I want to thank you for taking a little bit of your time to spend some time with me. I want to welcome you to my channel, and I hope that you will like, I hope that you will subscribe, and I hope that you watch this video to the end. I do own a home. I am a native New Yorker from the U.S., but I do own a home here in Jamaica, and I am always fascinated by different things that I see happening in Jamaica. So today I do want to uh, take a look at a video with you guys about apparently in Jamaica there is a little bit of controversy about whether people should talk patois or speak proper English, whatever. I don't understand that controversy. Patois is a part of the Jamaican culture, and it's just interesting to me. So let's take a look at this video.
Afternoon, if I make my first sectoral speech for my portfolio.
Hold on. Standing orders. And I think you are fully aware. And if I have to stop you again during your presentation, you will not get any additional time. No, and she knows.
Member of Parliament St. James Southern, an opposition spokesperson on culture and information, creative industries, Nikisha Birchall joins us in studio to further highlight concerns about the usage of our Jamaican dialect patois in parliamentary proceedings. Good morning, ma'am. Welcome to Smile Home.
Just really quickly, that whole little scenario that we just saw, was because this woman here, a member of parliament, addressed the floor using Jamaican patois or Jamaican slang or whatever it's called, and they quickly shut her down. And I think that's crazy.
How are you?
Wonderful. I'm good, and thank you for having us here today.
Yes. No problem. Years ago, when the state minister, Mr. Terrelong, spoke Spanish, and Mr. Warmington got up and stopped him and said, well, no, Parliament, what is it? It's number 6, I think it is.
Yes,
yeah?
standing order.
Yeah, a standing order 6, and says you're supposed to speak. And the same Speaker of the House said he got permission before, and she suspended the standing order so he could do that. Well, Mr. Warmington never buy that, by the way. Did you get permission to speak patois before?
I think the people gave me permission, but to be true to the letter of the standing order says the language for Parliament is English language. It does not say you can't speak patois. And I've been in Parliament since October of last year, and I hear patois talk in Parliament every day.
In a presentation?
In presentations, and nobody said, and I'm quoting here, but the speaker didn't allow not even a sentence or two, and that's her prerogative. I'm not going to fight her. She is the umpire in the space, and I complied. But the point was made, Neville, in 2 sentences. In 2 sentences or less of the Jamaican language, it has stirred a conversation nationally about our identity, about class, about our culture that I couldn't have asked for.
Is that what you wanted to do?
That was it. It wasn't...
And what she is speaking to there is so important. To me, it seems like, patois is on trial here, and I don't understand why, even in an official setting like Parliament, that patois can't be used. There's nothing wrong with it. It's part of the Jamaican identity. part of the Jamaican identity is the patois. You know, when people think about the culture of Jamaica, you know, they do think about that heavy accent and the patois that is used. And, you know, they think about the food, they think about the athletes. There are so many things that the world at large comes to associate with the culture of Jamaica. And I don't think there's anything shameful about it. I don't think that there is anything less than about speaking the language. And I don't know who came up with that idea that speaking patois is something that should be frowned upon. It's a part of your identity, and I think Jamaicans, should allow it even in Parliament. That's, and I think part of that problem is the outdated laws and the influence that the British have over Jamaica, and some of those influences are telling the Jamaicans that this part of your culture is something that should be swept under the rug, and I don't think that's right.
About disrespecting Parliament. It was about disrupting Parliament. It was intentional. It was to stir that conversation in us because we had gone into this comfort zone of just accepting Parliament. So when I came in as a millennial politician and I'm told to read a prayer that says, that prays to the King and to the public weal and to his children, I felt very uncomfortable with.
And that point that she's making, for Parliament members, they have to, they have to give allegiance to the King, to Prince Charles, and before it was his mother, Queen Elizabeth, and Jamaica, even though it gained its independence in 1962, it's never been a free country. I don't even think, on the food chain of politicians, Andrew Holness, the current prime minister, isn't even at the top of the food chain in Jamaica. The top of the food chain in Jamaica is King Charles. Before him, it was his mother, Queen Elizabeth. Under Queen Elizabeth is someone that comes before her. I think on the food chain of politicians, Andrew Holness is like the number 4 position. There's like 2 or 3 people that are above him in the government. But at the very top is King Charles, the British monarchy. And to get into Parliament and to get into politics, you have to vow your allegiance to the King. Stupid, foolishness, dumbness. I wish for Jamaica someday to truly be able to have independence and get away from the British monarchy.
With those things. So I have been contending with them personally as a black woman from rural Jamaica, still praying to the King. And then what happened recently with the mace, again, I was confronted. Is this the kind of politics I want to leave when I exit the space? I did not come in here to keep it the same way. I came in here to disrupt it for the better. And so in a sense, we're kind of juxtaposing the mace beside a mirror. I sought to put a mirror in Parliament, not for Jamaica to reflect on itself, but for Parliament. We are the legislators, for us to reflect on ourselves. Yep. Is this what we want? The Speaker of the House said, you knew better. And she said it 2 times. She said, she knows better. You knew better. I knew better than to not represent my culture, for the people of Jamaica to not hear their language, to hear themselves in Parliament. I don't think. I was asked a question about Dr. Brown Burke's lifting the mace. Mm-hmm. And I said in response that if you don't have rules and order, there will be chaos. Yes.
I accept that some of those rules probably shouldn't be there, but they are there. So why don't you follow the rules that are there, and then when the time comes, if possible, change them? But why the rules are there, why don't you follow them?
So when is the time? And when
Well, you should tell me that when the time is.
Exactly, which is why I raised that mirror for parliamentarians, for legislators to look at themselves. Is this how you want to represent your parliament and your people in 2026? That was me disrupting it. That was me spurring the conversation to say it's time for change. And clearly Parliament wasn't ready for that conversation. But you know who's ready for it? The diaspora. Who's ready for it? Jamaica is ready for that conversation. And they're having the conversation. I get the controversy, but controversy is good. That is how culture evolves. I want Jamaicans, I want our children to be able to rigorously learn and speak the English language, but I want them to intelligently navigate the Jamaican language. I want them to own it, because language is confidence. I want our people, I want our children to confidently speak them patois in a parliament, out of parliament, in official, in formal spaces, in informal spaces. For Read Across Jamaica Day last week, I went to a couple schools in my constituency. I didn't bring an English book about Spider-Man, Superman. I brought Jamaica Labrish by Louise Bennett. I brought Anansi Stories by Louise Bennett. And I was surprised a lot of the kids, they don't know who is Brother Tukuma, they don't know who is Big Boy, they don't know who is Anansi. We're losing it, and if we don't disrupt it, jolt society, then we're going to stay the same.
I would, and I was going to say I would suspect, I don't know, but I've seen Parliament, and you're a part of the opposition. Mm-hmm. If a member of the government did something that's wrong in Parliament, I suspect the opposition will jump on board and say, hold on, you did something wrong.
Well, that's up for debate. As I said...
Hold on. The rules of Parliament say you must speak standard English. That's not up for debate. That's the Standing Order 6,
yes,
isn't it?
Yes, but we were in what is called a sectoral debate. Mm-hmm. And the rules of debate allow you to use literary devices. This was a disruptive communicative device where you use jargons, you use slangs, you use other languages. I was following the rules of English language itself, which gives you literary devices that you can use. I did not, however, challenge the Speaker's authority. She made her decision. She had an option. She had an option to do what she did, which was quite predictable, or she could have risen to the moment to say, for our culture, for a spokesperson on culture to come into our house and to confidently speak our language, I could allow 2 sentences, because that's what she could have done as an enlightened leader. But
was your presentation written entirely in patois?
Absolutely not. My first 2 sentences were written in patois, again, for the shock value, to get the conversations going so that we can evolve our culture.
Member of Parliament, are we not speaking about...
I'm glad that she did that at this Parliament meeting. I'm glad that she did speak patois, and I'm glad that as a result that a conversation is being had in Jamaica and beyond. I hope that more people like her in Parliament and in the government will stand up for the culture. I would hate to see parts of the Jamaican identity be erased and swept under the rug. You know, I think that patois is a very important a part of the Jamaican identity, and I hope that, you know, in efforts to try to emulate other countries, whether it's America or the Europeans, I hope that, you know, Jamaica doesn't lose itself and doesn't lose its culture, and I hope that Jamaica doesn't compromise its culture and its identity.
Two different things. One is that there is a rule that shouldn't be there. That is one argument. The other one is that you did not follow a rule that is there. What about a youngster watching now and says, okay, so the member of Parliament says, if I don't like the rule, I must just do it my way, and whether them like it or not, they must live with that. Is that a concern?
Well, to your first point, as which you asked about
changing the
rule,
yeah.
I am very much intending to do what I can to help that to move forward. So I've already spoken to the persons from the opposition who are on the standing order committee of Parliament. It is chaired by the Speaker of the House, and we are going to be raising at the next sitting.
Please leave a comment about how you feel about this situation. Is patois something that should be allowed more frequently in Parliament? Should the rules in language at Parliament be changed? Should people in Parliament be allowed to speak patois? Leave a comment. What do you think? I'm genuinely curious.
Of that committee for our language, or first language, to be allowed in Parliament. It is chaired, as I said, by the Speaker and has majority government representatives on it. So if they are so enlightened, maybe we will see the laws changing. Secondly, about disruption. Disruption is not disrespect. A lot of people back in Sam Sharp Day and Paul Bogle Day would have said, how disrespectful of you to challenge the massa, how disrespectful of you to burn the plantations. That is disorderly. But sometimes, and I'm not at all likening myself to Sam Sharp or Paul Bogle, I'm talking about the moment when we have to decide, are we going to be like the frog boiling in the water and not realizing that we're disintegrating, or will we pop out of that hot water and decide that we're going to change, draw a line in the sand and change for the better, because our children demand that of us.
Yeah, you're just suggesting that you should be allowed to use patois. You're not saying use only patois in Parliament.
Oh, absolutely not. As I said, rigorously teach our children to know English, to use it confidently, but also teach them the confidence of using their own language.
That is a really, really, really important point that she is making there. You know, I can understand learning English or how to speak English properly, but at the same time, I think it is just as important to hold on to your own identity and your own culture. You know, again, as I said earlier, you know, I am American, you know, born and raised in New York. I do own a home here in Jamaica. It is a high-end luxury vacation rental that you can afford. That's very important to me. A high-end luxury vacation that you can afford. So, you know, hit me up if you are planning a trip to Jamaica. But for me, coming to Jamaica, I love hearing I can't speak it sometimes. It is very difficult to understand, but I love hearing it. And I love it when people speak the patois more slowly or speak it enough for me to understand. I just love the accent. I love the accent. And it would be boring if I'm coming from the U.S. and I heard everybody here sound like an American because they speak perfect English, because they were taught it in school and they were encouraged to not speak the patois. And, you know, it would be boring as hell. You know, that's part of the allure of being in Jamaica. The language is different. The food is different. The vibes are different, and it would be boring if Jamaicans lost that part of themselves. And I hope that they don't. I hope that more people like her stand up for the culture and the patois.
Is our gift. That is the genius, that's a talent that has been given to us by our foreparents, and we shouldn't shy away from it.
What happens now? Next time you speak, what you gonna do?
Boy, I don't want to pre up myself. I don't know, I'm a country girl from Garland, so patois come out of my mouth naturally. I don't know I'm gonna say it and then I get run out of the house. I go try, but I'm still gonna use the systems, use the procedures in the house, be it bring a private member's motion if needs be, to allow me to talk naturally, man. The truth is, a lot of the things that we regurgitate in Parliament, some of us don't even understand it. We get these written things that we have to speak a certain way, and we're just like puppets speaking it when we have a beautiful language here that the world loves and we hate.
You did it because of your position as culture?
Spokesperson.
That's so important what she said just there. It's something that the world loves and Jamaicans seem to hate. And that's just the point that I was just making a minute ago. You know, for me as an American coming to Jamaica, I love to hear the accent. Although sometimes I can't understand it, I love hearing it. It's different. It's you know, and it's who Jamaicans are as a part of the identity of Jamaicans, and I don't think that they should give that up or compromise that at all. It's so important what she said there. The world loves it, but Jamaicans hate it. Well, at least Jamaicans in government or people in positions of power or, you know, politicians, they look down on patois. That is Scooter. I don't think the Jamaican people look down on patois. It just seems like these people in power, people in the media, people in the government look down on patois. And I think that's messed up. And I think it's really important for people like her to push back on that.
Of a culture creative industries. And that was about my broader topic, which was culture is not decoration. It's not something you take out as an item on a program. It is something that has value, intrinsic value, and also external value that we can monetize, but also that we can feel proud of.
Yep. You answered
Exactly.
the question already when I asked if the entire speech was in Patois, and you said no.
Yeah.
Why did you not write the entire speech in Patois?
Because I absolutely expected this speaker to rule that out for them.
In other words,
two lines were enough.
In other words, you knew what you were doing.
2 lines were enough.
In other words, you knew what
The
you were doing.
point was made with 2 lines. No need to beat a dead horse.
In other words, you knew what you were doing.
No need to beat a dead horse. Jamaica is talking about culture and patois today. Miss Lou is proud, I'm pleased, and I would do it again.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
For explaining yourself.
Thank you so much.
God bless you. And
Well, I want to thank you for taking a little bit of your time to spend some time with me. Thank you for staying to the end. I hope that you will like. I hope that you will subscribe. And I hope you visit my channel and look and check out some other videos. Thank you so much.